Hello, dear sisters. How are you? I am Tyra Omilade, your goddess guru, your sister friend, and I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. And today I want to make a video that is important to me, and it is about what is going on in the United States. Um, I got despondent, and I just want to be honest with y'all. I'm giving y'all a full throated truth today um, because yeah, that's just what I need to do right now. I'll give more details later, but in 2016 when Donald Trump won, I became like disillusioned. I was already a little bit disillusioned with what's going on in the United States and um I hadn't been politically involved until around 2012. That's when I started getting trying to learn more about politics and be more of an advocate, for the things that I stand for, my values, and what I think is best for the United States. But that election disillusioned me. I could not understand how this man won. And I got very disappointed that there just weren't any spiritual people that I was listening to who really talked about the election. And that's actually how I got into astrology. It's the astrologers will talk about it because the astrologers talk about everything. There's no stone unturned with astrologers, trust and believe. And so once I started listening to astrologers, it made perfect sense why he won. Now I have to be honest with you. I remember 2008 when President Obama was running for the first time. There was a Babalao who did some readings. He's out of the Ifa tradition in Nigeria, and he did a reading to determine would President Obama win or not. And the defining Odu had something to do with the goddess Oya, and he said, "Yes, Obama's going to win because Oya is all about some type of radical change." And sure enough, he did. And then in 2012, he predicted, based on his reading, that um, Obama would win again. I don't really remember that Odu. I just was like, "Okay, that's all I needed. I'm gone." So, I have done readings. I did a reading when Donald Trump ran against, Hillary Clinton, and honestly, my oracle indicated, I use an Egyptian oracle, that Trump would win handily. I was in shock when I saw that, but I immediately went into denial because I didn't want him to win. And so when he won, I wasn't in shock. But, I was in shock. I wasn't There was that hint for me that from my oracles, because I really do take reading seriously. I thought my oracle, as my godfather said, godfather is, one of my teachers. If you don't know what a godfather is, Babaji says the oracle does not lie. So, fast forward to, now. Well, let me go to, 2017. So 2017, I started listening to the astrologers, and they began to help me to see from the astrology, you could see it was going to be a victory for Donald Trump. To a certain degree, I kind of feel like presidents, at least of the United States, but probably, prime ministers and kings and queens, leaders of nations around the world, I think they're born. I think that when they hit the womb, it's a destiny that they will be um, a president one day, even if no one could imagine that they would be. And so Donald Trump has what is called the star Regulus, close to a point in his chart that is very, very predominant point. It is a very defining point in his chart. And that Regulus is one of the reasons why he gets away with so much that other people wouldn't get away with. At the end of the day, spiritual law will prevail, and it's like what you put out will come back. So we do see it, certain things come back to him or whatever. But that is part of the power that he has in his chart. I think that most everybody who gets elected president, something that they have is like um, something in Leo, something prominent, a planet or something like an ascendant or the career point in Leo. So, he has that going for him, but let me try to stay focused. So, I start listening and I started seeing the lay of the land astrologically once I started learning it. And, um, and so it is that is inspiring me to speak to you all today because and I have to kinda look off to make sure my thoughts don't leave me, so pardon me not looking directly at the camera. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because I was so despondent back then, and the only reason I'm not a crazy woman right now is because of astrology. So, I made a commitment to do for anyone who needs this what wasn't done for me, and that is what part of this is about. And I did also have to just give a disclaimer. I believe that you should know where a person stands politically. If you're spending money with them or if you're letting them come into your precious mind and take up space there, you should know where they stand politically. You should know where they stand on social issues. And I believe in transparency in this spiritual space because not everybody who is spiritual is for you. And so typically on these kinds of videos, I let y'all know straight up, I lean blue all the way. There is no red in me other than my blood. um, and and for me, before VP Harris was the candidate, y'all already know anyone who has been here. I was for Joe Biden because for me, this is about democracy more than anything else. But I just want to make sure I say all of that and let you know where I stand. And I also want you to know I used to be very kind of sort of like the person on a different path, very kind of like leaning towards third party candidates and stuff like that. And I know it doesn't work to try to tell people who to vote for. So I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm just here to bring a spiritual take on everything that is going on. But I do want you to know I'm going to be objective as I can be. And when I'm not, you'll see me reel myself back in. And but I am going to do my best to be objective. Okay. So, what I want to first off say is I did a reading before Joe Biden dropped out because it was after that debate between Biden and Trump. I did my best to not do a reading because this is a spiritual teaching moment. I don't do readings on things where it's like if that oracle says something I don't want to see, I it's like I got to go with it because I have decided this is how spirit speaks to me. So I just really hadn't done a reading yet because I thought if it tells me what I don't want to hear, I'm just not going to be able to handle it because I really want democracy. That's how I see it. And I see the Democrats leaning towards democracy and Trump leaning towards dictatorship. That's how I see it. But after that debate, I was so nervous and scared because I have been doing some, just kind of looking at the astrology and I understand where we're supposed to be headed. And in my mind, I'm going to pull up a chart just because sometimes it's helpful to have a visual. We have a very prominent placement. So this is the United States chart. And right here, this is Pluto. So the black planets are where the planets were on July 4th, 1776. And this Pluto right here is what I have just really taken myself full into. This is what is letting me know where the United States is headed. And so in my mind, Pluto, even though it's in our natal chart, the USA's natal chart of Capricorn, which is all about government and it's like a pyramid, the top down. The power is concentrated at the top, and and you know, yes, it's a very I can see why the United States is very success driven now that I think about it. But it's very Capricorn is a little bit power hungry. It likes power. It really does. But the green Pluto is okay. So the green Pluto is where Pluto is in the sky now. So we're in the midst of a Pluto return, and so yes, the Pluto return, which is all about rebirthing the nation. This Pluto has been bouncing back between Capricorn and Aquarius because it went into Aquarius and then it went back into Capricorn. And then it came back into Aquarius and now it's back in Capricorn. And so now, uh, what we're headed to is Pluto in Aquarius. And what is Aquarius is very different from Capricorn. Aquarius is about the people have the power. Aquarius is about equity, equality, justice. And so even though the birth of a nation, this has happened before, and I've talked about it in other videos. You can look at the video. I'll link the video about the Pluto return that I put here on YouTube. But the Pluto return is all about rebirthing a nation. The nation is going in a new direction. And my message to all of us over these last few years is you have to make a choice. Where do you want this country to go? What do you want this country to look like? That is what we have been doing for the last several years. I would even say it's starting in 2020. We weren't at our Pluto return in 2020, but we were very close to it. And it's just been and this is why Donald Trump is has been there, is because he represents the old guard. And I was even confused, like, how is Joe Biden going to win if we got two old white men running against each other? But at least Joe Biden had more of an Aquarian vision for the nation. So I was kind of like, I'm trying to figure out how this is gonna happen. But I have just been really dug down into we're headed into a society that will work for everyone and not be oppressive to the majority of the people here. It is that Pluto going into Aquarius, but we haven't finished our Pluto return because Pluto went back into Capricorn. And that is part of why things are so crazy right now. So, and so chaotic. And Pluto is on the 29th degree of Capricorn, waiting to come back into Aquarius, and that creates even more chaos. So the reading that I got was that neither Trump, I'm trying to stop not mispronounce his name on this video. Trump nor Biden would win. But when I did a second reading, it was kind of like a little bit more favorable to Trump. I went into straight despair. I was just like, how can this be? I was like, I feel betrayed by the universe. Why universe? But neither one came out the clear victor. When I did this reading from between Trump and Clinton in 2016, um, it was a definitive yes to Trump and a definitive no to Hillary. I was just like, whoa. Um, so then when Joe Biden dropped out, I was like, okay, this is why it was looking the reading I did was looking the way that it was looking. And what he said was he wanted to turn over the next, leg of the presidential leg to the next generation. So I'm like, okay, we're in the midst of a rebirth, turning it over to the next generation. Sounds good. And I'm like, okay. When VP Harris said, we're not going back in one of her earlier speeches, I thought, oh my gosh, this sounds just like Pluto in Aquarius. And, the way she keeps saying we're turning the page. I'm like, this lady does not know astrology as far as I know, but she is speaking the language of this one planet. And I know we can't just go with one thing, but it just was really hitting, like just really landing with me, right? So I was like, okay, this is sounding like Pluto in Aquarius, opportunity economy and women having bodily autonomy, all of that. I was like, okay, this sounds more like Pluto in Aquarius, because Capricorn is like, you don't get anything more than you deserve. You need to work for everything that you get. You do not, we're not giving any handouts. And the energy of Aquarius is all about conserve, conserve, conserve. We don't want to use, it's a stingy, and it's no disrespect. I'm not talking to you if you're a Capricorn. I'm talking about the energy of Capricorn is stingy. I want you to think uh like the bah humbug guy or the Grinch. So that's Capricorn. And I was like, okay, Pluto is going to mostly be in Aquarius for the president who's elected in 2024. It will mostly be in Aquarius. And in my mind, it has to match the person who is talking like Aquarius. And that is Harris. All right. Um, I've also talked about how it's like we're rebirthing this nation. We did not get a say so before. This is our opportunity to have a say so in the rebirthing of the nation. And that is what we're doing. And so, it's no matter what side people are on, or if they're in the middle or undecided, at the end of the day, we are the people who were born to rebirth this nation. And to rebirth the nation is difficult. I looked at some history around France. They always talk about, well, the French Revolution was the rebirthing of France. Even on the other side of that rebirth, it was still kind of crappy. It was still kind of crappy for a while, but it totally changed. And a lot of it was taking the power from the oppressive kings, right? And so here we are rebirthing actually into a sign that has to do with democracy. Aquarius, it's like everybody's opinion matters, everybody's voice matters, everyone gets a vote. And we don't let people suffer and struggle. We pick people up, right? So that's Aquarius, and it, to me, it represents democracy. So the other thing that I have said in the past was, if we whoever's going to win, because once Harris became the candidate, of course, there just became all this talk around, am I for her? I'm not for her, should she be the one or not be the one or whatever. And I said, this is what I want everybody to understand. You do not need to have a or 100% buy-in for either candidate, to be honest with you. All you need is the tipping point. This is spiritual manifestation. It doesn't matter if we're talking about presidential elections, or you're manifesting something in your life. 51% being with that enough is what is going to make it happen. You just need 51%. And I said, whoever got the most support, whoever had the most people get behind them, that is the person who is going to win the election. And as I see it, even though I sit around and I panic just like everybody else, as I see it, it's VP Harris. This is an unprecedented campaign. And the word that people keep using is freedom, which is Aquarius. Aquarius is all about freedom. Don't hold me down. Don't tell me what to do. And it's and democracy. And that's what everybody who is crossing party lines, getting behind VP Harris is saying. Um, I'm for democracy. I'm for democracy. So it looks to me, and I have been like, okay, on my worst days, it's like, mothers, I need y'all to give me a word. I need you to help me. I'm so scared. And so that number 51 came to me. And on the day of recording this is October 31st. Oh, Samhain. And I just started all of a sudden seeing, oh, VP Harris has reached 51%, in the polls on this poll, or 51 on this poll, or whatever. So I keep hearing this number 51. And I even heard someone say today, Joe Biden won against Trump with 51% of the vote. 51%. So that's uh exciting for me. Now, yesterday, well, let me do this right now. Yesterday, I did the weekly reading, and it kind of hit me in looking at the astrology chart that first of all, Venus is up here in Sagittarius. Mercury is going to be in Sagittarius on the day of the election. And that makes me feel excited because it's all about futuristic and positivity and hope and optimism. But those women, I think I'm going to make a little prediction. I get nervous about making predictions, but I'm going to make this little prediction that they're going to say it was women and the youth vote that made the difference in this election because women is Venus and Mercury is youth. But I think it's interesting that um, the sun is in Scorpio, and we talked a lot about, Oya yesterday, and then it hit me that Babalao had said, hey, it's going to be Oya. I had no connection to Oya in this election or anything. It's just I wanted to talk about Oya because she's the goddess that has to do with change and transformation. And I relate her to Scorpio. And when I did that video yesterday, we were in the balsamic moon phase. It was just a lot of energy of this old crone goddess, this deep wisdom energy. And then I was like, wait a minute. The very first time I heard anyone do a spiritual reading around the election, it was Oya. It was Oya that spoke. And then the reading that I did, I pulled a waning crescent card, which is the same energy of this. It's like the moment right before we go into birthing something new. That is where we were yesterday. So yeah, I just keep hearing this message to say, hey, don't forget to mention Oya, change, transformation. We have this Mars opposition to Pluto. That is part of the reason things look so rough in this country right now. Because both of these can create a lot of volatility and vitriol in the positions where they are from each other, and quite frankly, some violence and yeah. But despite all of what we are seeing, what I'm hearing is that that one of the very few scriptures I can remember, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. All right, joy comes in the morning. So I was kind of feeling pretty convinced yesterday after doing it was actually the Inspired Goddess Morning Circle. I was like, maybe we will be okay. Yes, the moon. I knew there was something about the moon. The moon is here in Sagittarius. That is very positive, optimistic, hopeful energy. The moon is women. So it's a lot of feminine energy in this sign. Uh, so the other thing I wanted to say, in the rebirthing of this nation, part of what makes the United States, or democracy, I should say, part of what makes the democracy a democracy is having a free press. And right now, the press is under a lot of scrutiny, and it's just a lot going on. I watch some videos. I'm very, very selective of what I watch, but then they show videos from other news outlets and stuff like that. So part of the rebirthing of the United States is going to be a rebirthing of media, news media. And yeah, it's gonna take. We'll see where we are in May when, maybe it's June when Jupiter moves into Cancer. Which okay, when Jupiter moves into Cancer, but we'll see just what's gonna happen because Jupiter is retrograde right now. So yeah, Jupiter is retrograde. That is a little bit of a concern for me around this election, just because, Jupiter is the court system and it has to do with the laws, and it's in Gemini, which I love Geminis. I birthed a Gemini. I ain't got no problems with Gemini. But it's just one of those kind of signs where it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a mutable sign. So all mutable signs, it's kind of like you don't know fact from fiction. It has a lot of information, but it doesn't go super deep, and it can really create a lot of, confusion is how I'll say it. So, and then there's Jupiter, and we already see seeds, whether people believe it or not, there are seeds being sown right now that our election system is not fair. And that is one of the things that it's like, if you want a strong democracy, we have to believe that the voting system is fair. So it's just like so many things. Part of the reason we're seeing so much is the rebirth of this democracy, and where we go, is what we all decided on. And some I used to not like hearing this, but I really do believe that every time we elect a president in the United States, we get exactly what we deserve because we have a democracy. Period, full stop. And do people turn out? Oh, that was something else. I was going to say, do people turn out and vote or not? Another thing that I believe is this country had gone to sleep. We had gotten so comfortable. Even though it seems like this is one of the worst places to live, that's how some people would describe it. I'd say go visit other countries where people truly don't have their government caring about them. I went to Dominican Republic, lovely, lovely place, lovely, lovely country. But I stayed out in the countryside, and I got to see how people really lived every day. It was just for 7 days, but I tell you what, I was so ready to come home. I was like, I couldn't live like this, where it's like you're just living to survive. It's like you just as long as you get that next meal. It was very relaxing. They're not as adrenaline crazy like we are here. um, but I was like, their life looks a little hard in this countryside. And even some of the people who lived just like one town over, they were kind of like, oh, we don't live like them. I was definitely in the countryside. But anywho, or like I went to Mexico recently and I was just like, these people work so hard. There were so many, and I loved it. I was like, I could live down here. I felt so at home, zero judgment. But I tell you what, the little bouginess in me, I was like, dang, they got some serious potholes. Like we would never have these kind of potholes. Even Mississippi's potholes. I can complain about Mississippi's potholes. I'm like, Mississippi's potholes ain't got nothing on this. So I know it seems horrible here, but I'm like, go visit some other countries. There are some other countries where maybe it is better for people. There's a lot of good in Mexico and Dominican Republic that we don't have here, right? I'm not setting us out to be perfect. So we had kind of gotten complacent and just kind of like negative about living here in the United States, even though people are fighting, scratching, clawing to get here. Some of us, the relatives don't even go that far back, just a couple of generations. That's when the ancestors first got here, right? Folks want to come here to at least try to do better. And I just want to acknowledge too, they come here sometimes because the United States has messed up their place of living, right? So I'm trying to be real as I say all of this. We had gotten lazy, we had gotten lax, we weren't in engaging in politics. But baby, ever since Donald Trump, I know a lot of people who voted for the first time in their lives, and they were full grown adults. I'm not talking about teenagers who just turned 18. Never voted. They've been voting ever since Trump won. And that's how I see right now is one of those times where it is completely and totally activating this nation because this nation is being rebirthed. So I want to just see, is there anything else I want to say about the horoscopes? Let's see, who is this? That's Trump. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of tell you some stuff that I figured out about these two. Once I started looking at VP Harris's chart, I was like, she is giving this man a run for the money. The very first thing I noticed was she's a Gemini rising. And I thought, wow, she's a Gemini just like him. And this is I'm not gonna go too deep into the astrology. In my astrology class, we looked at their charts, and it was like you could see how she has been able to give him a run for the money like nobody else, because there's this energy around them being so evenly matched. He actually does have signatures for being a dictator. I can't fully remember everything that we looked at in this chart, but there was something around, maybe some childhood wounding happened and that all mixed up with his uh just these dictatorial inclinations that I don't remember everything because it was 2 weeks ago. But the very same thing that we looked at for her is called declination for people who know astrology. She is a woman who was born to be powerful. She was born to be very, very powerful. And when we looked at the predictions for it's like in astrology, we look at someone's chart and it's like, what does this look like? Just like the last time I remember hearing someone say something about Trump in 2020, where it's like his moon was moving in a new place, indicating he would be moving out of the White House. So it's kind of like we look at what are the planets doing and how are they interacting with the planets in the sky. And then there's just these, it's a lot of charts you can look at in astrology, a lot of astrological techniques. And what we notice with these two, Harris and Trump, is that Harris's chart is just stronger. Her transits are just stronger. He has things. This is why I see why people are like, y'all, we got to keep working. This thing isn't in the bag because Donald Trump could win. It's in his chart. I'm trying to tell y'all it is. But hers is just stronger. She has more in her chart that leans towards winning and beating him than the opposite. So that made me feel better, when we looked at that chart. Um, so let me see, is there anything else I wanna say about their charts? But it really kinda made me chuckle. That was a little fun thing that I really enjoyed seeing how evenly matched they are. And the fact that she's a Gemini, I was like, "This is what we need. We need a Geminian to go against another Geminian because these Geminians, they got away with words that other people do not have, and if you can't keep up with, Trump, Trump's gonna get you, but he met his match in VP Harris. Let me see here, what else do I wanna tell y'all? Oh, so I was gonna pull from my oracle decks just in case somebody wants a little bit of, if that would be helpful, and I'm not asking who's winning or not. I've built a case that it looks favorable astrologically for VP Harris. It's lined up with everything that I've been looking at, uh, just kind of like the signature, the energy. And yeah, so this is more about just like, or mothers, I'm asking you to give a word that would help the women or anyone watching this video for that matter who need a word, what do you want them to know as we go into the election? So the first one I'm pulling, interesting, because I think I pulled it the other day. Interesting. I'll tell y'all just a minute. I gotta hurry up. I gotta do a reading or I got a coaching session to do with somebody. Wow. That last one was like, whoa. Okay. So this is for my African Goddess Rising deck. We got to go Afro on this one first, baby. We'll look at maybe another one, but I was like, I need Africa right now for me. Interesting. This is an ancestral card. Oh my gosh. Let me see here. Let me put it on this side. So maybe you can see it better. The light is so the sun is starting to come through. Okay. So it says, this is the ancestors card. So one of the things I would say is definitely call on the ancestors. That's what I've been calling them. I'm like, ancestors, we got to save democracy. We got to save it. Ancestors, we got to save it. Okay. She's the goddess of divine lineage. She was an Egyptian prophetess and patron saint of the Romani people. Oral history says that Saint Sarah had the highest divine lineage. Your ancestors protect the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is you. Divine ones walk beside and within you. Trust. Whoa. How does that feel to hear that? Your ancestors want to remind you that you are not alone. They are rooting for you. They ask you to honor your spirit guides and call upon the power of the divine. Create or nourish your ancestral altar or shrine. Unbury your ancestors. Speak their names. Your divine lineage ancestors may be blood related or culturally or spiritually connected. And this says, I am my sister and my sister is me. So, wow, that is very telling because one of the things that I teach is that one of the predominant energy guides of the United States is the ancestors. So it's just making me feel like the ancestors are with us. And that's a very powerful reading, to be honest with you. Very powerful. So the next one, I'm so excited. My Orisha has spoken. Yay, my ya, yay, monja, for whoever, however you want to say her name. And she's all about awakening. So that made me feel good. That made me feel good. So she says, wake up. Wrong side. Okay. Wake up. Awaken now to your true self. Are those tears of joy or sorrow? Let them out. Yema Ya swallows your tears. Let them out. Let them out. Let them out. You are vibrating at a higher frequency, so you see everything differently. This is Goddess Rising. I ain't gonna lie. I really do think this is a cosign on VP Harris. I want to pause just for a minute and say when Mexico elected their first woman president ever, it was about 2 or 3 months ago. I was like, oh, here we go, babe. But it is time for us to get a woman president. It's a new day. Okay. So it's a goddess rising. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many more women in power now. It's like, wow, this is so exciting. You are waking up. And once you have experienced awakening, you can never go back to not knowing. The path of awakening is not straight, comfortable, or easy. You have chosen to lift the veil and have a real relationship with the divine. You didn't come to transcend this world while you're living in it. You came here to dig into the soil, plant yourself, and grow. This ascension is your divine purpose. This makes me feel very, very optimistic. Now, this last one, I was like, okay, you do what you do. African Goddess Rising. Medusa, Rage. Isn't that amazing? I just need to read her because this one makes me like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Okay, so it says Medusa is feared as an ugly, vicious monster biatch The truth, the Libyan Berber dark goddess of wisdom's rage, is sacred, epic, and fully justified. Okay. This is her shadow guidance. You're pissed off and petrified, angry and shaking, but underneath that you are hurt and heartbroken. Feeling undervalued is overwhelming. You can't stay silent anymore. Let your joys, hopes, and beauty rage on. Just take a breath, close your eyes, and put both hands over your lower abdomen. Tune into the part that feels out of control. Flood it with loving, healing, golden light. Now put your hands over your heart and do the same. You have a right to your full range of emotions, including anger. Make sure you can see her. Sacred rage inspires us. Check this out. Sacred rage inspires us to run for office, lead protests, and shift policies. But unhealthy rage can devour your very soul. So just get clear on what is really happening. Allow yourself to feel your feelings, to see the truth. Just because you feel threatened doesn't mean you are being threatened. I have a right to my feelings. So, am I back? I do put Medusa with Oya. I do put Medusa with Oya. That's spirit trying to let me know, hurry up. Okay, I'm gonna pull from my mythical goddess tarot deck, and then I'm gonna end. I hope that this has been helpful and healing, and um, you know, on the other side, I'll make another video. I'll make another video no matter what on the other side, because I do believe there's a lot of unrest that lies ahead. Because we still got to finish. We got to get fully over into this thing. I want you to go back to when the United States started. Yeah, there was the American Revolution, and then there was a whole lot that happened right after the American Revolution, right? A lot of stuff that was chaotic and bad, and then a lot of stuff that was all about, all right, let's build this country, right? So we don't get to go back to sleep. We don't get to do that. Interesting. Give me a reading for the stars around this election. Interesting. So the first card I pulled, Mother of Perception. I just have to go to the next card. I pulled yeah, my yeah again. Isn't that interesting? That's the mother energy. You know what? That's the energy of the United States, because the sun for United States is in Cancer. And then this one is interesting. Fire goddess that has to do with courage. I'm gonna read these real quick, y'all, and then I gotta run. Okay, so the perception card is I'm just gonna read the guidance because I have to get off of here in a few minutes. The Sea Mother brings clarity with the gifts of psychic perception to see beyond the limits of this third dimension. She honors her emotional integrity and aids you in being honest with your true feeling perception so that you have clear guidance and may show the way for others. So it's definitely some work we need to be doing with this the mother goddess energy, because that's mother perception, water. Yeah. So go make an offering at the ocean, the river, the lake, the pond. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. But I kind of feel like this is, mama will take care of her children, right? So I kind of feel like we're good. Um, the next one I pulled was the fire goddess. She has to do with courage. And let's see what she says. Now she is a maiden. Oh, let me put it over here. May not be able to see it too well. Okay, this maiden is here to celebrate the courage you have found to face your inner demons, that you may confront your sureness with fortitude, all the outer demons in your life. Courage is known through total trust and honesty with yourself. Courage comes from your inner fire. where you find the will, strength, and passion to meet the test before you. We got to have courage. Continue to blaze your way on the lion path of courage. Woo! Okay. Last one. Ye maya, ye monja. Interesting. I feel like I'm good. This is my Orisha right here. When I say that, it means I'm initiated into this deity. This is the energy I work with the most. Yay, my ya. Second time. This ocean goddess is the wise prophet who shows you through her glowing example to go within and find your connection with the mother, your true nourishment. Through spiritual discipline of taking time daily to be alone and apart from the busy world, you illuminate the bridge to source in yourself and shine the light for others. This, this is where the gifts of prophecy and intuitive ability are nurtured and expanded. So, wow, that's what I have for you all. I feel like we're good. I do. I'm not saying exactly what I think is going to happen. I'm not predicting anything, but I can tell you what I feel like it's leaning towards. And this energy is like, take care of yourself, trust in the divine. That's what I feel. We need to trust in the divine. And on the other side, there's some stuff we'll have to deal with. I do not want to, mislead anybody, but I'm feeling like we're in a good spot for democracy. And so, yeah, for those who need to hear that, I hope that this has been helpful. Love you all so much. Thank you for listening. And yeah, connect soon.